It is morning for me. It's like, I don't know, 7 something. I'm just here in the quietness of the studio to make a little video for you. So I've been trying to organize my time better now that the kids are doing school at home. So it's been interesting. So I thought if I got up early and came to the studio, got my stuff done early, then I can be home and help them with their school stuff. So I'm gonna get this done. The class that I have planned for today is a lot of side body work. So I actually had already filmed this, and because I was having a problem with my old phone, I did like a 45-minute class. It recorded approximately 11 minutes of it, and I didn't know that it had stopped recording, and then I cried and went home. And so I'm so thankful that my new phone came so that I don't have problems with that anymore. It was getting really frustrating. So I hope that you're doing good. If you have any questions about what we're doing in the practice, feel free to leave a message for me or comment for me. I'll do my best to answer it. Let's take a minute to just get ready to practice. Okay. Find a comfortable position to sit in. I'm just sitting on a little pillow and a little blanket for some cushion under my ankles. Hands can rest comfortably on your lap. If you're into mudras, which are hand gestures, one that I've been using a lot lately is Chin Mudra. Yana Mudra and Chin Mudra are very similar. Yana Mudra would be palms facing up. It means I'm open to knowledge, to learn. I'm accepting information from the universe. Chin Mudra, hands turned down. I'm grounded and stable and calm. So if you're into that, you could do that. If it doesn't feel right for you, you could have your palms just resting on your lap comfortably. And I'm going to close my eyes here. You're welcome to do the same if that feels all right for you. I'm just going to start to focus on my breathing. Not really changing the rhythm of my breath much as possible. Once we focus on our breathing, it changes a little bit, but I'm going to try not to change it too much. Notice any sensation in your body right before you would naturally breathe in, right before you would naturally breathe out. Start to change our breathing now. Start to lengthen our inhale and exhale, taking more air in when we breathe in, and then pushing a good amount of that air out when we breathe out. You don't have to empty our lungs completely or make our breathing uncomfortable right now. But just being mindful. Big breath in, big breath out. And as we breathe here, we're going to really pay attention to that side-to-side movement of our rib cage. Couple last breaths here. chin can tuck towards our chest. If it feels good for you, you could bring your hands together in front of your heart and maybe take just a moment here to set an intention for practice today. When you're ready, eyes can stay closed or you could open them. We're going to take a big breath in, stretch way up. As we breathe out, we'll take just a little gentle twist. One hand comes over to our opposite knee, the other hand comes in behind us. Big breath in, arms come up overhead. Big breath out, twist the other way. Big breath, arms come up overhead. Big breath out, hands to the heart. Big breath in, arms can come up overhead again. Big breath out, we'll bring one hand to the ground, plant it, start to stretch our opposite arm across. So I can keep this hand straight here and just think of lengthening between my fingertips and my hip. That's staying, pushing down towards what I'm sitting on. Or I could use it to bend the elbow of the hand that's on the ground to make that stretch a little more intense. Big breath in, I'm gonna come back up. Big breath out over the other direction. Big breath in, back up, exhale, hands to heart. Big breath in, arms up. Big breath out, I'm gonna bring my hands just in behind me and lift my heart. Big breath in, arms come back up overhead again. Big breath out, hands can come to the floor. We'll just walk them forward a little bit. Big breath in, walking all the way back up to sitting. Maybe our hands come to our heart again. At this point, if you're sitting on something, I'm sitting on a little bolster blanket. I'm gonna get those out of the way. I'm gonna start to move here. Coming all the way down to my bum on the floor, finding a comfortable position for the legs to sit here. We're gonna move into a couple of seated sun salutations. Big breath in, arms reach up. Big breath out, stretching to one side. Inhaling up, exhaling the other way. Inhaling up, exhaling to twist. Inhaling up, exhaling to twist. Inhaling up, exhaling, hands in behind the hips, lifting the heart. Inhaling up, exhaling to fold forward. One more breath here. All the way back up here. Hands can come together in front of our heart. I'm just going to switch the cross of my legs. So whatever leg was tucked in closest to me is now out in front. And I'm going to switch the directions I move in first here too. Big breath in, arms come up. Big breath out, side bend. Big breath in. Big breath out, other way. Big breath in to come up. Big breath out to twist. Inhale. Exhale, twist the other way. Inhale to come up. Exhale. I'm going to forward fold first. Inhaling up. Exhale, place my hands on the ground behind me. I'm going to inhale, lift my heart and hold for 3 breaths. exhale and come all the way back to center. I'm just going to take a moment here. I just realized that I did not, in fact, tie my shirt like I intended to. We're going to get ready to start making our way towards a little bit more intense side stretching here before we come into our sun salutations. So you can sit cross-legged, we'll come to sit with our legs extended and our feet apart. I have loud hips in the morning. So from here, we're just gonna go side to side a couple of times. So I'm just gonna feel what I can feel. I'm not gonna push myself to come into like my biggest movements. I'm just getting started moving. I'm not really warmed up. I don't know if you are or not. I don't know what you've been doing already today. So I'm gonna reach one hand forward. I'm gonna make this, this stretch a little bit of moving and a little bit of warming up at the same time. So my one arm is going to come out and forward, so I'm not weight bearing. So this side of my body that I'm stretching, I'm also working. I'm also having to contract those muscles just a little bit while I'm doing this to have them hold my torso up. So I'm going to take a big breath in, arms come up, big breath out. One arm's going to reach forward, other arm's going to reach across. Big breath in, big breath out, other way. I'm just going to go side to side a couple times with my breath. You go with your breath. Do one more each side. And then I'm going to switch my pattern of moving here. So I'm going to come into more of an intense stretch here. So I'm going to let this arm come out. Maybe I hold for 3 breaths here. Maybe I'm really thinking of like reaching my hand far away from the hip. I'm going to come all the way back up, over the other way. 3 breaths. All the way back up. This I'm going to take my hand. So whatever leg I'm going to fold towards first with the side of my body, I'm going to bring my hand towards that side of my leg. So my hand can come in. I'm going to show you here. I have blocks here, but if you're at home, you don't have yoga blocks, you can use like a stack of books. You could use a pillow here. You could use a rolled up blanket, just something to lift the floor a little bit higher. So maybe when I come in, my hand comes to rest on the block, my opposite arm comes across, but I might, wherever my arm can touch my bottom leg, I might use that to push my arm into my leg and think about opening my heart up towards the ceiling more. And I move. If it feels comfortable for you, you could have your hand come right down to the floor in this position. If it feels comfortable, you could take your peace fingers, hook them underneath your heel, reach. One of my favorites is to pull my opposite leg in, hold on to my opposite ankle and reach. And then from here, hands can be wherever, they're just reaching away. If it works in your body, you could grab onto your opposite toe here. And 2 more breaths. Come all the way back up. Pause. We're going to find our way into the same pose, other side. So again, it could be that my hand is on books or pillow or blanket. It could be that my hand is on the floor. It could be hooked under, or I could take that hand and hold on to my opposite ankle. all the way back up here. Bring my legs apart. I want to have them far enough apart that I can feel a little bit of a stretch on my inner thighs, but it's not super crazy. Not the most intense sensation that I can handle. And then how we went side to side, and we're holding the weight of our own torso, not letting our hands support the weight of our torso. We're using our core muscles, so side core muscles, to hold. We're gonna do the same thing a little bit into our back body. So I'm gonna take a big breath in, arms come up. I'm gonna take a big breath out. Instead of my hands coming down and I fold forward, I'm gonna keep my arms here. I'm gonna think about pushing my heels into the ground. I'm gonna think about rolling forward in my hips. It doesn't matter how close I get to the ground. It's gonna be a stretch, but we're focusing on like the work aspect of it more than the stretch aspect. So I'm gonna roll forward, pause, squeeze, and come back up. Big breath in, exhale. So you can breathe whatever way you like to. I like to breathe, exhale and come down, inhale and come up. Usually I exhale when I do my working movement, but in this one, I like to breathe in and lift up. You do what works for you. Do maybe one more. Big breath in as I breathe out. This time, my hands are gonna come to the floor. I'm just gonna fold forward a bit. One last breath. And slowly come all the way back up here. I am going to come around to hands and knees. From here, I'm going to tuck my toes under, and just a couple of times, I'm going to think about pulling my shoulder towards my hip. So if I was looking over top of my body, if I was looking down from the ceiling, it's like I'm trying to make a little C and a little backwards C with my spine. I guess my head is moving too, not just my shoulders and my hips. My head is moving the same direction as my shoulder. And pause and come all the way back. I'm gonna keep my toes tucked under here. I'm gonna take a moment and start to lift my knees away from the floor. And then I'm gonna slowly start to press up and back towards downward dog. Move here if you want, wiggle around. And then I'm gonna slowly come forward to plank, knees come down. You can have them come all the way to the ground if you want, or just back to hover. Push my hips back, lift my hips up, weave and come forward. Next time we come back to down dog, we can pause. Inhale, I can look forward to my hands. Exhale, I'm gonna walk my feet forward, little by little. And pause. Big breath in, come halfway up. Big breath out, fold down. Big breath in, reach up towards the ceiling. Big breath out. hands to heart. So we are going to start to move through a couple of rounds of sun salutations. We're just going to do sun salutation A, and then we're going to build it into a ladder flow where we're going to do a little bit more work on focusing on the side body before we come into our prone work. So I think lots of plank stuff with side body stuff added in. It's going to be fun. All right, so when you're ready, feet comfortable distance apart, pushing big toe mound, pinky toe mound, heels into the floor, standing nice and tall, shoulders relax away from the ears. Maybe we slightly draw the shoulder blades together. Big breath in to reach up, big breath out to fold forward. Big breath in to come halfway up. Big breath out, hands to the ground. We're gonna step one foot back and then the other. From here, knees could come to the floor if you want or not. Elbows bend, torso comes to the ground. Big breath in to lift the heart. Big breath out to downward dog. Pausing for 3 breaths here. Usually we do 5, today we're gonna do 3. On an inhale, we can look forward. On an exhale, we can step or walk our feet back to the top of the mat. Inhale to come up. Exhale to fold down. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. Right into our next round. Inhale, up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, hands to the ground. If you remember what foot you stepped back with first, last time, try stepping back with the opposite foot this time. One foot back and then the other. Knees can come to the ground or not. Torso comes to the floor again. Inhale to come partway up. Heart moves away from the floor. Exhale, back to downward dog. Pause. Inhale to look forward. Exhale to step or walk. Back to the top of the mat. Inhale to come halfway up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. This time, if you wanted to, we could incorporate jumping back. So when we jump back, we could jump back to plank, which would have arms straight, or we could jump back to chaturanga, where we would land with arms bent. Big breath in, arms reach up. Big breath out to fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, hands to the ground. Step, walk or hop back. Inhale to lift the heart. Exhale. Back to down dog. 3 breaths. Inhale to look forward. Exhale, we can step or hop our feet. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, extend up towards the ceiling with the fingertips. Hands come back to the heart. We're gonna do 2 last rounds. Whatever way or variation of movement feels the most comfortable for you. I'm not gonna talk for these rounds. So you can just connect with moving at your own pace, your own rhythm, and then we'll chat again after these 2 rounds. And in this down dog, the second round that we're doing kind of quietly by ourselves, we'll just pause. And take one more cycle of breath here. I'm gonna take my right foot up. Ooh, tickly through the plant. And then step forward. I'm gonna take a big breath in and come into high lunge. So heel is still lifted away from the floor. Big breath in as I rise up. Big breath out. I'm gonna bring my hands back to the ground. Step back to plank. Lower through chaturanga. Inhale to lift the heart. Exhale to downward dog. I'm gonna bring my left foot up. And then pull the knee in, step the foot forward. Big breath in to rise up. Big breath out, hands to the ground. Stepping back to plank, move through chaturanga. Inhale to lift the heart. Exhale to downward dog. 3 breaths. I'm gonna breathe in, lift my right foot, step my foot forward. I'm gonna rise up. I'm gonna exhale and turn to my warrior 2 pose. Inhale, back to my high lunge. Exhale, hands to the ground. Stepping back to plank, lower through chaturanga. Inhale to lift the heart. Exhale to downward dog. Left foot up. Stepping forward. Rising into high lunge. Exhaling to warrior 2. Inhaling back to my high lunge. Exhaling, hands to the ground. Stepping back to plank. Lowering down. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale to downward dog. 3 breaths. I'm gonna inhale here again, right leg up. Exhale, stepping forward. Big breath in, arms up. Big breath out to my warrior 2. Big breath in here. When I breathe out again, I'm going to mimic a movement that we made when we were seated early in our practice. So as I come down, my bottom arm is gonna come the same direction that my heart is facing. My opposite hand is gonna reach forward. I'm gonna hold for 3 breaths. I'm gonna inhale, back to my warrior 2, and exhale. Inhale, back to my high lunge, hands to the ground, step it back. I've been doing my chaturangas with my knees lifted, but you can bring them to the floor too, and exhale down. Inhale to lift to cobra or upward dog. Exhale, back to downward dog. Left foot is gonna come up and step forward. Big breath in to rise. Big breath out to warrior 2. Inhale here. As I exhale, I'm gonna come into that variation of side angle pose on the other side. Bottom arm reaches the same direction as my heart is shining. Top hand reaches forward. 3 breaths. Inhale to come up. Exhale. Inhale back to my high lunge. Exhale, hands to the ground. You can keep knees lifted here, or you can bring knees to the floor. Lower through chaturanga. Inhale to lift the heart. Exhale to downward dog. Pausing for 3 breaths. We're gonna inhale, take our right leg up again. Exhale, step forward. Inhale to rise. Exhale to warrior two. Inhale here. We're gonna exhale to that version of side angle pose. Inhale to come back to warrior two and straighten our front leg. We're gonna exhale, bring our bottom hand down towards the floor, but not touching anything. We're not resting our hand on our shin. We're not resting our hand on a block. It's gonna reach down. We're gonna think about lifting the opposite side rib cage up towards the ceiling. 3 breaths. Inhale, back to our warrior two. Exhale. Inhale, back to our high lunge. Exhale, hands to the ground. Move through whatever version of chaturanga you like. Inhale to lift the heart. Exhale to downward dog. Left foot's gonna come forward. We're gonna do the same thing, opposite side of the body. Inhale to high lunge. Exhale to warrior two. Inhale. Exhale to that version of side angle. Inhale. Exhale to that version of triangle pose and hold for 3 breaths, thinking about reaching up through the rib cage towards the ceiling. Inhale, all the way back to our warrior two, and exhale. Inhale back to our high lunge and exhale. Hands to the ground, coming back to plank, lowering through chaturanga. Inhale to lift the heart. Exhale to down dog. 3 breaths. From here, we are going to move into kind of like a variation on mountain climbers. So there's going to be a couple of different options. So if you want to pause, you can come down to knees and I can walk you through the steps. If you wanted to stay active, you could hold in downward dog while I take these show you these options or variations. If you wanted to be extra active, you could hold plank while I show you these variations or steps. So, sometimes we do this movement where we're really thinking about bringing our knee all the way up to touch the back of our arm or towards our elbow or even towards our wrist, if that's where we can get our knee to. In this specific movement that we're gonna do here, we're not really thinking about like rounding the spine to get our knee to touch our arm. Depending on the length of your long bone in your leg and the length of your torso, it might not touch. I have a long torso, short legs. I can't have my knee touch my arm without rounding my spine significantly. So, and you might find that your knee does touch. So either way, it's all good. We're gonna do a few different things here. So this is just the first of a couple. Take breaks when you want to, take child's pose, just come to sit if you want, come back to downward dog as a rest. So I'm gonna show you the most gentle version of this one. So we could start in tabletop here. The more that we walk our knees back, the more work we're gonna do. The more that our knees are under the hips, the less work we're gonna do, so you can choose what feels the best for you. And I'm gonna think about bringing my knee kind of slightly out to the side, towards my arm and back. I don't wanna be bending my side, or my spine side to side like we did in the other one. I'm gonna keep my back pretty neutral here. I'm gonna squeeze and come up, and then back. So this is kind of option 1. Option 2, I could do this from plank. So I could have my knees lifted and go out to the side and back. Option 3, I may not be able to talk when I'm doing it, we'll see. But I could do the same thing from chaturanga, where I'm going to, from plank, bend my elbows, up towards it, so up towards. So from there, find which version feels the best for you. We're gonna try to do 5 taps each side, pause, 5 taps each side, pause, 5 taps each side, pause. Pause for maybe 3 breaths in between. So you can also do a different version each time. You don't have to commit to one version and go through the whole thing. So that's always an option. So I'm gonna start here and go through, work my way up. So when you're ready, 5 movements each side. You can go side to side, or you could do all 5 in one, on one side and then all 5 on the other side if you want. And pause for 3 breaths. When you're ready, 5 times each side. And then back to rest for 3 breaths. And one last round. 5 movements each side. Three breaths. All the way back to hands and knees here. We're gonna do one last bit of work. So again, you can do this with knees down on the ground. You can do this with knees lifted, depending on what feels the best in your body. Knees on the ground might be slightly different. So if your knees are on the ground, you're pulling your knee towards the same arm. When you come across, your foot might hit your knee. So if that's happening, then you're gonna kind of think about still moving the knee over. The foot might stay other side of the knee. If you're moving from here, I'm gonna come all the way across. So we're kind of keeping our knee and ankle aligned. So the ankle is moving as far over as the knee is. All right, so we're gonna do, let's just do, oh gosh. Let's do 15, one side, or thereabouts, however many you wanna do, and then 15 the other leg, and then pause. So when you're ready, knee comes in, over, back. That's 1, 2, 3. Pause for 3 breaths in whatever feels restful, whatever position feels restful for you. Same thing, other side. And pause. Take a couple breaths. find a little bit of comfort in your body. You could be child's pose, you could be down dog, you could be seated. And when you're ready, we are going to do our last little bit of work. So we are going to come into forearm plank here, and then we're going to do a little bit of work on one side and then the other. So we're going to work again with that, maybe we do 5 and 5 and 5 again, depending on what feels good. When I come into my version of side plank, I can do knees down or knees lifted. Actually, okay, now 5, 5, 5. It's just gonna be 30 altogether. I don't know what I was thinking in my head, but so it's gonna be 15 times our hips move towards one side of our mat, 15 times our hips move towards the other side of the mat. If you don't want to do this in forearm plank, you can absolutely do it from your hands. If you're doing it from hands though, the thought is not to come all the way down and like dip the hips down and pick them up. We're just gonna be twisting side to side. So I find that when I do it from forearm plank, I feel like I can control my movements more and focus more on what I'm doing with my hips. So it's going to be a rotation of the spine. So a twist, we're bringing one hip towards the ground and then the other. And we're going to do 15 movements to each side, or like 30 in total if you're counting that way. So when you are ready, we can go. Come all the way down to your belly. Pause in crocodile pose. Maybe your toes turn out to the sides. Take a couple breaths here. So from here, we're just going to make our way over to lying on our back. Have your arms resting wherever they're comfortable. You can start with our feet however wide apart that you want them, and we're just going to let our knees rock side to side, nice and slow. And pause next time we come back up to center. I'm going to bring my feet right together here. And a couple of times, I'm going to go side to side again. Letting one foot pick up completely off the floor. And I move my knees the opposite direction. Next time my knees come back towards the ceiling, I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna pick my hips up, shift them over to the left, and let my knees come down to the right. So if your knees don't come all the way to the floor here, if it doesn't feel comfortable in your body, you can tuck a blanket or a rolled up pillow underneath them. Again, arms can rest wherever they're comfortable here. And then only if it feels nice, you can play around the position of the top legs. You might bring it in closer to the belly. Let the opposite hand rest on the outside edge of the knee. If it feels nice, you could hold on to the outside edge of your foot and start to extend the leg out. Maybe the foot comes to the floor. Maybe it comes to a pillow or blanket that's rolled up to offer a little bit of support. We'll slowly come all the way back to center, bring our hips back in line with our shoulders. We'll pick our hips up again. Send the hips over to the right. Let the knees come down to the left. And if it feels nice on this side, you could also play with the position of that top leg. You could hold on to the outside edge of the knee with your left hand, or you could hold onto the foot and extend the leg out. If you didn't set yourself up so close to the wall like I did. A couple of breaths here. Come all the way back to center. We can find our way into Shavasana. So find a comfortable position for your body. Maybe you support underneath your knees with a rolled up blanket or towel or pillow. Maybe your legs are stretched all the way out. We can find a comfortable position for the arms. Take a moment to roll and tuck each shoulder blade underneath of our body. Maybe we cover ourselves with a blanket here or put a sweater on as our body starts to cool down. Bring our awareness all the way down. Pause before you get comfortable. Set a timer for the length of time you would like to spend in Shavasana. So you could spend anywhere from 5 minutes to 15 minutes or more if you wanted, depending on what you have the time and patience for. You can pause this, set your timer, and then come back to it. So find your way back to that comfortable position, shoulder blades tucked in underneath of us, legs feeling they're in a spot where the muscles can really relax. Bring our awareness all the way down to our toes, and almost like we're doing a little laser scan of our body, start to move our awareness up. Feet, ankles, shins, calves, knees, thighs, hamstrings, all the way up. Trying to relax every muscle that we bring our awareness across. Move up to our hips, our belly, low back, lower rib cage, front and back, chest, shoulder blades, shoulders, upper arms, elbows, forearms, and hands. Shift our awareness back to the little notch at the base of our throat, slowly scanning up our neck, front, back, sides, all softening. Jaw softens, the muscles of the face relax. Feeling our head rest heavy on the floor, hands rest heavy on the floor, feet. And then bring our awareness to our bellies here. Feeling the movement of our belly as we breathe in and out. Just a really gentle rise and fall. Not trying to move our breathing in any specific pattern. Maybe we keep our awareness on our breathing here. Or maybe our awareness slowly fades off and our mind becomes quiet for just a little bit. I hope you had a good practice today. And I'll see you again soon.